I want to get back to our Sam Ford, who is also there live for us at the Navy Yard. Sam, you have an interview with another employee there?
Well, yes. What you see here, if you look over here, there are a number of employees who didn't manage to make it into work this morning because this happened before they got in. I guess to some degree they may be happy about that. But this is Marcia Clark, who lives in Virginia. You were headed in this morning. Tell us.
I was headed into work, had just gotten dropped off because I slug in, and we were about to go through the front gate when all of the police came around, and we were sent text messages to say that there was a possibility of something going on. So,
what were your thoughts at that point?
My thoughts are with the people that already were inside the Navy Yard. My thoughts and prayers are with them, and having known that this won't be the first incident, if in case that's the truth. We're just praying for everyone that are inside.
Have you talked to anybody by phone, any of your coworkers that are inside?
I've spoken with.
What are they saying? What are they feeling, or what are they?
Well, the folks that I've talked to are okay. Yeah. So that's the key.
They're on lockdown, but they're okay.
They're okay. Yeah. Just to hear a live voice means they're okay.
Yeah. Okay, so that is Marcia Clark. She lives in Virginia. She works at the Navy Yard. She told us she wasn't actually here last time, but it's something that goes through your mind as you sit as you work in a place like this, because you know what happened, of course, in 2013. And again, we're out here, a lot of press, employees who couldn't get to work, general public, just watching and waiting to find out what happened. Back to you.
All right, Sam, thank you for that interview, as we all are. This is a live look now at M Street, just outside of the Navy Yard, where that building is on lockdown right now. We know that Building 197, the site of the 2013 shootings, it just reopened back in February of this year. It's only been open for about 5 months now. That is once again the focal point of police as they search that building room by room. We know that they are going through, trying to clear each individual room, talking with people before they allow them to leave. We know that our John Gonzalez is in Mobile Track 7. He is trying to get there to the scene. We do have him right now. John, what can you tell us?
Autry, good morning. We are in Mobile Track 7, maneuvering our way around traffic, and we're going so slowly that you can hear people on the streets saying, how can this be happening again? We want to give you a shot of our camera from up above. That is directly in front there. We are at the intersection of New Jersey and M Street. Right on the corner here is the Transportation Department. We're about a block away from the actual main gate of the Navy Yard, and there is a tremendous amount of emergency response. Even here, a block away, I can see Federal Protective Services Police, Homeland Security Police, D.C. Police. They've blocked off several of the entrances here. As you can see, they've blocked off the New Jersey Avenue entrance off of M Street to get around. This street would normally take you to the backside, almost behind the Navy Yard, if you will. So a tremendous amount of activity, and I don't know if you can see it from our view there, but there's a lot of folks on the street right now, and you have uniformed police officers walking the corners as well, not only in their cruisers, but also walking, trying to keep people away from the area. We're trying to get over to the main metro entrance, the Navy Yard Metro entrance, which is over near Nats Park. We're actually going to make a left onto M Street here just to see if we can get a little bit closer. This gives you a sense of what M Street looks like at this hour. This is 2nd and M Street Southeast, heading toward the Navy Yard, and you can see just beyond you have a police officer standing in the middle of the road trying to direct pedestrian traffic. And you can see the sea of flashing lights just ahead there. Just a tremendous amount of personnel. This police officer here is, let's see if he's going to divert us back. We're being told to turn around, so we're going to toss it back to you guys and see what else we can find around the block.
Okay, John, yeah, thank you. Obviously, those police officers seem to be expanding the perimeter there that they are sectioning off as the morning continues. Just to get you back up to speed with what we know at this point, it was just after 8 o'clock this morning when the initial reports came in of an active shooter situation at the Navy Yard. Within minutes, we saw hundreds of police officers from varying agencies descend upon the Navy Yard. It was a scene that was eerily reminiscent of 2013 when the same scene unfolded when Aaron Alexis shot shot and killed 12 people there in the second deadliest murder on a military base. What we know now, what we've been able to gather over the last 45 minutes, is that police officers from all these different jurisdictions have been going room by room, floor by floor, inside Building 197. Yet again, the focal point for these police officers. They've been going room by room, clearing those rooms, and once that has happened, they have been letting those employees who had been on lockdown, been told to shelter in place, they have been letting them out after questioning them for a brief moment. Dave Lucas is in our newsroom. He's been on top of this since the news first broke, and he has new information for us now. Dave?
Couple of things to add, Autria, to sort of our collective knowledge, if you will, because, again, it's very difficult. We're having to synthesize all that we're hearing and try and confirm it where we can. Earlier, John Gonzalez was on his way trying to get to the the Navy Yard Metro station there. We heard not long ago from Metro, and they just recently retweeted again, that their K-9 and explosives ordnance detection units have completed a number, now they're saying, not just one, but a number of sweeps of the Navy Yard. The station is open, has apparently no impact to service there, so folks may be able, if you can't get over the streets, the metro station apparently is available. A couple of things to talk about, too, about Building 197, and that's how we knew it before. It does actually have an official name now. It's the Humphrey Building, and the Humphrey Building, particularly, and Autry, I want to get your feeling on this because you were listening to this as well. That lieutenant commander, the Navy man who was talking to reporters there, a couple of things that he said. One was the training work. This is something that obviously they have thought about. A great deal of planning went into, and when they moved those folks back in earlier this year, they did it by taking every possible precaution, including what to do if this ever happened again. And to me, the good news is they did that training, and apparently it worked today.
Yeah, Dave, it was chilling to me to hear that lieutenant commander say, you know, you always think that once you get inside the gates, once you're inside the perimeter of a military installation, that's when you will be safe. But we know after what happened, both at Fort Hood and also here at the Navy Yard in 2013, that unfortunately that is not the case. And so, yes, he was going into great detail talking about the impeccable training that those employees have now undergone, that they, have been told exactly what to do should alarm bells ring out. And apparently what we're hearing from those employees inside the building this morning, that's exactly what happened. Those sirens rang. They were told to shelter in place. The base was put on lockdown, or the Navy Yard there put on lockdown. And fortunately, we should point out, Dave, fortunately, as these officers go room by room, we are hearing that so far no victims have been identified, no weapons have been found, but also no gunmen yet have been found. So still a lot of work there to be done. Our Jennifer Donnellan is on the phone joining us once again this morning. She has been working her sources within the D.C. Police Department. Of course, a huge response from D.C. Police there this morning, Jennifer.
Huge response. And so far, the news is good. We have nothing found. I now have several sources telling me nothing found so far. We've just said that. The fact of the matter is the police are still in the building. It is a massive building. So going floor by floor and doing that visual thing is one thing, but you've got closets, you've got bathrooms, you've got to check every single square inch of that building before they can say, you know what, it was a false call, stand down. So obviously they're not standing down. Just look at the pictures of what's unfolding out there on M Street. But the good news is so far, and this is when I hope, this is one of those situations when I hope the situation does not change. But so far, it is nothing found. Police are still inside Building 197. They are still calling other officers down to that area. They have to be prepared for anything. They're not going to just do a primary search and say nothing found and then leave the area and call it. They're going to have to do that search over again. But we know that they're inside the building, and the great news for everyone involved, for people who have families, loved ones who work inside that building, who they knew what were at there, that right now, as of this moment, we have nothing found.
That's true. That's remarkable news this morning. And Jennifer does point out, bring a very good point to the forefront, is that this is anybody who's been on a military base or military installation knows that it is a labyrinth of hallways and rooms and offshoots. And so to completely give this building and the entire military installation the all clear is going to take some time. And that is why you see so many police officers responding here to the reports of an active shooter situation. Our Suzanne Kennedy also down there on the scene for us. We have got a team of reporters covering this for you from every angle, and she joins us now live with what she's been able to gather from her vantage point. Suzanne?
Well, let me tell you first where we are. We're at N Street Southeast, just about a block behind Nationals Park. You can see over here we've got the Federal Protective Service. They have blocked off where we are right now, and we have had Park Police helicopters and MPD helicopters overhead all morning. We are right across from the Department of Transportation, and we've seen people waiting on this corner trying to figure out exactly what the situation is. You can see the Protective Service, Federal Protective Service are in front of that building as well. Employees were waiting on this corner trying to figure out what was going on. Todd Peterson's one of the people who's trying to figure out exactly what's going on this workday, this final workday of the week. Tell me what happened when you arrived here this morning. What time did you get here?
Well, it was about 7:45 and when I came into the area, and there was a lot of police activity out on the street. A lot of things going on, streets being closed down, police directing traffic, and got to the area here that shut down New Jersey, so I wasn't able to get into the parking garage, and found a spot over here, and they've had us outside of the building out ever since.
What was going through your mind as you were pulling up and seeing this massive police presence here this morning?
I just hope I can get into the office.
Any sense of fear, any sense of concern, or were you more concerned about getting into the business of the day?
It usually seems in these situations the authorities and security have it locked down pretty good, so not a lot of fear, but a little apprehension. You hope that nobody's hurt.
And they told you initially what? That you could go home?
We were instructed by our supervisors that we could go home or hang around in case that things open up, which appears to possibly be the case now. So I hope to be able to get into the office and get some work done.
It brings back a lot of memories for folks of September 2013. When you pulled up and saw all this, was there any sense of fear for you that something wrong was happening here?
Not for me personally, but you always think of the victims in cases like the Navy Yard shooter back in 2013, and nobody likes to see things like that happen. I certainly don't. No one wants to be involved with it personally, but no sense of personal threat for myself. So
10 minutes ago you were going home, and now you're going back in.
800 cops out on the street. It kind of lends an air of safety to the situation. So
Todd, thank you very much. I appreciate your time. Todd was saying that he was initially going to go home because that's what he was told by his supervisor, but now they're opening up this building and they're allowing people to move freely through this area, which is a different situation than it was just about 10 minutes ago. It doesn't seem as a high stress of a situation as it was when we pulled up here, so perhaps things are starting to get back at least a little bit to normal in this sector of the city. Back to you.
Suzanne, quick question for you. That building that they're letting him into now after initially telling him no, go home for the day, that is a part of the Navy Yard? That's a part of the military installation that they're reopening?
No, that is the Department of Transportation. Okay. So we are directly behind Nationals Park at the corner of Tingey and N Street in Southeast. So that's the Department of Transportation. We're sort of on the other side of the installation, but that is a DOT building, and they're saying it's all clear for people to go back in.
Okay, that is good news for those employees arriving there this morning. Suzanne, thank you for that update from the scene. I just want to recap for you everything that is unfolding on your TV screen. Reports of an active shooter situation at the Navy Yard. This has been unfolding for about the last 45 minutes. So far, as police and officers and officials continue to go room by room and sweep Building 197, once again the focal point of this active shooter investigation. So far, no weapons, no active shooter, and no victims have been found. That is what multiple sources are telling our Jennifer Donnellan, as well as our news partners over at ABC News. The very first reporter on the scene for us this morning was our Sam Sweeney, and we want to get back out to him live with what he has been able to gather. Sam.
Autry, I want to bring in somebody who was in Building 197 when this all happened at about 7:40 this morning. This is Jordan Rogers. He's a naval architect. He was also in Building 197 back in 2013. Jordan, what can you tell us happened in those moments just after the first screams?
Having been through this before, unfortunately, my colleague and I, Lieutenant Commander Williams, ran to our nearest lockable office. I took the chance to grab my phone because I'd been without my phone last time, and obviously that causes a lot of problems with friends and family, not knowing what's going on with everybody. Once we got in there, we barricaded the door, moved some couches, and then we started looking around for things to use as weapons in the event that became something that we needed to do.
Are you guys trained for this now?
We're trained as far as evacuating, either getting out of the building if you can, or getting into an office, yes.
What made you go into that office in the first place?
We're kind of at the end of a hallway. Our distance to another hallway that leads to the exit is kind of long, so it's kind of a split-second decision of which you'd rather take your chances on.
And what were you hearing in the hallway as you were barricaded inside that office?
Not a lot of shouts or yelling or anything. People were moving pretty quickly, just trying to get to the doorway and the stairs and get out of the building. I didn't hear any shots or anything like that.
And what did police tell you when they arrived?
I think it's pretty standard procedure. They want to know how many people are there, and you keep your hands up, open the door slowly, and then once we get outside of the door, they have a pretty orderly way of getting people out of the building.
Is everyone treated as a suspect when those police go room to room?
I think they have to, not knowing what people were wearing when they came into the building. If someone is actually in the building, they treat everybody pretty suspiciously. Yeah.
Have you been in communication with your supervisors and your bosses? Are they talking with you?
Yes, we have actually. Our captains did a very good job this morning of doing a muster, emailing everybody, making sure that people who were in the building are out, or people who didn't come into the building are at least accounted for.
And what are they telling you as far as the rest of the day goes?
I don't think anything's really come out as far as the rest of the day goes. I can't imagine that anybody would go back in even if they found someone or didn't find someone. So I think this being a second event, they're pretty sensitive about what they want to put people through.
Thank you. Jordan Rogers, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. I'm glad you're safe today. Jordan Rogers inside that building, just one of many who was barricaded inside office buildings when those first screams broke out at 7:30 this morning as police and other law enforcement went room to room. You heard Jordan say everybody treated as a suspect until proven not. They went up into those offices. They had to put their hands in the air, and then they were cleared room by room. Police still very active situation behind us here at the Navy Yard as they clear Building 197.